So before we get too deep into this, I should mention that I was in the bar business for a very long time. I owned my own bar in New York City by the age of 25. And I'm a guy that came from nothing. I grew up in a cornfield in Nebraska. My dad was a mailman. He's a wonderful dude, but we didn't have a lot. You know, we were just living regular, good old blue collar, lower middle class lives, and didn't know anything else. Didn't know that there was another life out there where you could have a couple of bucks. And I'm glad that I climbed out of that gutter and I've gotten what I was looking for out of life. And it's been a ton of work, but I'm very grateful for where I am. And so that being said, yes, I do allow my cleaners to ask for tips. I'm okay with it. I almost encourage it because, I mean, hell, I go to the car wash and I tip. Why? Because there's a sign that said, "We would appreciate your tip." I didn't tip at other car washes, but when I go to that car wash, it's like, oh, wait, I didn't even know that was a thing. And I give them $5-10, whatever it is. When I go to a restaurant, I tip big. I tip big. I go to Waffle House, I give her $100. Not every time. And honestly, I tip more if they seem like they're having a hard time in life. You know, if they're struggling, if they're mean. There's something going on there. They're having some trouble. Their family life is probably not where they would like it to be. They probably are having trouble with, maybe the kids are having trouble in school, having trouble feeding the kids, having trouble getting the kids some shoes. That's why they're grumpy. Not only that, but everybody in this restaurant is complaining and being mean to them and saying that my scattered potatoes were not done right, smothered, you know. So I will oftentimes tip more for bad service. So I am probably not the guy to ask if you should be allowing tips or should be tipping. My answer is always yes. I was behind a bar for 14 years. I love to tip. It's one of my things. I go to the pool. Take the kids to the pool on Sunday or whatever, and I open a tab. I open it up for the whole place. I said, not the whole place, but anybody standing anywhere in my general vicinity, put them on my tab. Don't let them pay for anything. And then I tip the guy big on the way out. I don't even drink. I mean, you know, but I liked everybody to have a good time. And I was in the good time business. I'm still in the good time. Hey, vacation rentals are the good time business. It's what we're in the business of doing, creating memories and places for these folks to enjoy their vacation and have a good time. You know? I will say, okay, and also I want to mention these comments happen often in our Facebook groups, is where I'm getting this from. We do have the biggest independently owned vacation rental, short-term rental Facebook group in existence. Short-term rental, long-term wealth. We got about 70,000 in there. And people often post and they say, should I allow my cleaner to ask for tips? We had one recently that said, I showed up to my house to, just to hang out, check on things, and there was a tip envelope, and I wasn't expecting that. And I do think that most people I'm reading the comments on these threads, they disagree. They think that they should not be allowed to leave tip envelopes. They think it's tacky. Most of the comments I'm reading are saying that my cleaner gets paid enough. My cleaner gets paid more than the other person. They don't need to be asking for tips. And I get that, but I mean, hey, when I go to a hotel, I'm leaving $40. They don't ask for it at hotels really anymore, but it's kind of a thing. Well, at least maybe because I'm old, it's implied that I should be tipping the people that are preparing and cleaning the room, and I'm happy to do that. So again, I think this argument could go many different directions. As a matter of fact, one person has even commented, "This would make my blood boil." I'm not going to call him out by name here. She says, my cleaners are paid $60 more than what I collect as the cleaning fee. I'm paying them $60 more out of pocket, basically, is what she's saying there. And I expect them to not ask for gratuity. I get that. But, I've also, let me throw this at you. They're probably going to ask for it whether you tell them not to, or tell them to or not. I've seen that. Well, we don't want you asking for tips. And then you show up and there's an envelope, because how often are you even going to check? That's another thing to consider. So, So it's kind of a weird thing there, and I feel after reading many comments about this on Facebook groups, etc., I think people are, pretty much 50-50 as to whether this should take place or not. Most people saying no, absolutely not. It's very tacky, and it would make me very angry if my cleaners were doing that. So I think it's important just to have a conversation with them. Have a conversation with your cleaner. Maybe you wait a while until you know what you're okay with. This will become a policy over time. I'm personally okay with it. As a matter of fact, I have at certain periods in my life even provided them with the envelope. That's one thing that I could understand. Like, it's super tacky if they're doing these little handwritten envelopes, and sometimes the envelope even says something about management, which would be you in a lot of cases. So they're kind of throwing you under the bus there, throwing you into the mix like you were a party to this, and you may have not even known about it. But you can go on there's hospitality websites that provide, items and goods for the hotel world, and you can find pre-made tip envelopes that look a little bit classier, and have your cleaner leave those out. They're very inexpensive, and at least it looks, like you made an effort rather than just writing their name on a yellow, security envelope from the Dollar General, that kind of thing. But anyway, long story short, I'm okay with it. I am. I lived on tips for many years, and I'm a huge tipper. But some people are not. This episode is brought to you by Short-Term Rental Listing Advice. Join this Facebook group and post your listing to get advice from other hosts, including myself, on how you can improve your listing. Or just post your property so you can show off. Join us at strlistingadvice.com. That's strlistingadvice.com. Here's a comment. Mine do it. Honestly, it really bothered me because I charge and pay my cleaners $400. Now, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money for a turn. I've got turns. I've got a beach house that costs me $475 every time to clean it. And that's a lot of dough. Here's a comment. It's tacky. I would let her know she needs to remove it. I think it's tacky and overstepping if the cleaner has not asked permission from the owner. See, I agree with that. There needs to be a communication involved there. And there's a very good chance that that's not going to happen until you show up and find the envelope. So maybe you need to bring this up. Maybe this podcast is your eye opener. Say, hey, are you asking my guests for tips? Because if you are, you got to have a system. Everything's a system, right? If it's going to happen, it needs to be on your terms, and you need to be okay with it. And maybe you're okay with them just doing whatever they want to do, and then you don't have to deal with it. Or maybe you want to use your own envelopes, like I mentioned before. But let's read another comment or two here. We've got our cleaner at our cabin does the same thing. We encourage her to do so. Oh, there you go. She does a tremendous job, and it is a service-oriented business. I agree with this comment. I agree. Let's read one more comment here. They never stop doing it. Ours took the liberty to make a laminated checklist for their guests to do upon leaving, and then a QR code for tips. Now, I like that. I like the QR code. Hey, leave me a little, like a Venmo QR code, I would assume, a Venmo code. They also put their phone number on there to text if someone was checking out early. I do not like that. I don't like that. I don't want my guests communicating with my cleaners. I'm the man in charge. I'm the boss, or my office is in charge. The communication needs to go directly to the office, not with the cleaner. I don't have any control over what they're saying to my guests. I would assume they're going to be very nice and cordial, but I want to have all control over that because it's obviously imperative that the review standards remain intact and that you're doing your best to have your, best foot forward to get that primo review and the fantastic customer service. She said, this is the same comment. She said, every time I see it in the back of our cabin from the cleaning videos, I ask them to remove it, meaning she's seeing the QR code in the videos that her cleaner is sending her. And it sounds like this has happened multiple times. So at that point, you just got to kind of maybe assume that they're not going to change their ways. They're just going to keep doing it. Because if you've already told them 3 or 4 times, So long story short, again, long story long, I guess, if you will. I'm cool with it. I like it. I go ahead and let them ask for tips. I do tip heavily everywhere I go. So if you want to wait my table, you are going to get taken care of. Believe me. And also, point number 2 is that there should be a system in place. If you don't have a system in place, maybe you reach out to your cleaner and say, hey, are you asking for tips? And how does that work? I would like to kind of, streamline that procedure and nail it down as to exactly how we're going to go about this moving forward. Okay, so you may think it's tacky and stupid. Either way, you still need to bring it up with your cleaner and have good communication there. We can't do this without our cleaners. We love our cleaners. There's a very good chance that one of my cleaners is listening to this right now. And if you are, I love you. Can't do it without you. We are in this together, 1,000%. And appreciate you. Love you. So, again, food for thought. Maybe you have a tip conversation with your cleaner. No wrong answer on this one. This is what I call an NWA, a no wrong answer. You could either allow it or you could not. And I think either one is going to be acceptable. Thank you from Short-Term Rental Management. I'm going to leave you with a quote from Ryan Holiday. This moment is not my life. It is a moment in my life. I feel like I may have used that quote already, so I'm going to give you another one. There is no shortage of success. I don't know where that came from. I can't credit to anybody, but I agree. There's plenty of it out there. If you want to stop being a bum, do better in life, just get out there and go get it. It's out there for you to get. Just go get it, man. Anyway, long hair, Luke, cash flow, Carl, short-term rental management. Don't overthink it.